AITA for giving guardianship of my son to my aunt over my mother after I die of my terminal cancer. Trigger warning, death. I, 21M, have a son who just turned 1, his mum who was my girlfriend died in labor along with the other baby she was carrying. I was diagnosed with terminal cancer 3 months ago and I don't have very long left, 2 months at most. I have accepted that I'm going to die, but now I have to think about what's best for my son. I had to decide who my boy would go to and I thought my mother, 55, naturally, but then I started to think of her situation as my older, 29, lives with her along with his 5 kids all aged under 5 and I decided not to as mum works and my brother TBH isn't really raising his kids, more dragging them up and can be neglectful. I wasn't going to put my son in that environment as I want someone to actually care for him. So I then thought of my aunt, 33, on my dad's side. She is a good mother and her husband a good father to their 3 girls and I know they could provide for my son. I asked them and they agreed. My mother however found out that I wasn't leaving my son with her and she got angry with me, that she's losing me and now losing her grandson. I gave her my reasons and that she realistically can't raise him while she's basically raising a man-child and his kids. It all ended in an even bigger argument and now I'm cooling off at home. I understand that things are terrible for her right now as I won't be here soon, but my aunt is a much better choice. It's not like my son won't know who she is as the walk between hers and my aunt's is only 5 minutes. Am I the a-hole? Update. First of I'd like to say thanks to everyone who gave their suggestions and well wishes. Unfortunately I didn't get to read everybody's comments as there are too many, but thanks to everyone anyway. Now on to the update. I gave my mother a few days to calm herself down before speaking to her again. She eventually came around. She recognizes that it's not optimal for my son to stay with her and that he would be better with my aunt. She knows that my brother is a slob and is giving him a good kick up the arse to get his life together and shit. I have spoken with a lawyer who has helped me with a lot of things, including getting my son legally adopted by my aunt and her husband. He will still be staying with me until I pass, as a lot of you suggested. I made recordings and videos of myself giving him advice for his milestones. For example, when he loses his first tooth, turning the ages 10, 13, 16, 18, 21, his first girlfriend, or boyfriend if he likes. I've made a video in case he is in any way LGBT+, leaving secondary school, going uni, getting married, or if he has any kids. There are also things I've put into writing, like how his mother died and that he was supposed to grow up with a twin brother that also sadly passed. I've also had my lawyer help me set up a little trust to will him £40,000 from my girlfriend's father when he died. She put the money in a joint bank account that I got when she passed, in case he needs help with university or decides to go traveling. All I have to do now is to enjoy the time I have left with him. I've moved my younger brother into my flat so that there will be someone to find me every day for when I go. When I'm gone I can at least be comforted by the fact that the son I love so much is being taken care of and that I will see the girl I love again and our other angel I never got to meet. Thank you all again. Edit, this is Op's brother writing this edit. He has since died. Update 2. My brother is dead and the family can't handle it. This account isn't mine but the one my brother had when he needed advice for his son. He has since died. Terminal cancer killed him in his sleep about 3.5 weeks ago and my family is in bits over it. I was living with him in his final months to help him with looking after his son and to keep an eye on him. I was the one that found him and I'm constantly going back to the night before when we had a few drinks and played on an old PS2 he had, revisiting our childhood. Last time I saw him alive he said he was going to bed, gave me a massive hug and checked in on his son before calling it a night. The next morning when I found the body I called my mum, I called my dad. I was so scared I didn't know what to do. Next thing I remember was his body being taken out of the flat. Since then we've had the funeral. My nephew is now living with my aunt and the family is just constantly going over things. Mum feels guilt over the arguments she had with him. Dad feels guilt about leaving when we were all younger and my older brother hates himself cause he feels like he was a terrible sibling. Why was it him that got cancer? He had already been through so much and now he is gone? How is that fair? How will that little boy of his grow up not knowing who his daddy was? I've been over to my aunt's every day to see him, to feel close to my brother, but I'm just keep going from sad to furious with some occasional numbness. I know a lot of people on here spoke to him and he was so grateful for their advice and I want to say thank you to them. But now I want to know, how do I deal with his loss?
Relevant comments. Hey man, it's important that you take care of yourself first and foremost, but also be there for your family. My cousin died in a motorcycle crash a few years back. He hit his head on the bumper of a truck and had no chance of survival, but his parents kept him on life support for 3 weeks even after he was pronounced legally dead. Point is, they had a very hard time. Losing a child is possibly the hardest loss. Your parents will be hurting probably for the rest of their lives. Grandparents too. Everyone will feel lost and confused for a bit, but it can be okay. You seem to have taken your siblings passing okay, and he even chose you to find you when he passed. That's gotta mean something. He trusted you a lot to be there for his child for the first few moments. He believed you could take his child safely to his aunt. That sense of trust in you is very meaningful. When my cousin crashed, it was bang splat. He didn't know what had happened. Your brother knew what was happening, and knowing when you're gonna go is a sort of freedom. He knew his time was short and he made the most of it. Not many people know when they'll die. It's a privilege a lot of people don't get. Knowing this, it's important that you take this as an opportunity for you mourn, and tell your family they should too. Encourage your brother to get his life on track for his brother. Remind Mom she did a great job raising him and she can be proud that he's done something so noble for his son if she was a good mom, etc. etc. But what's most important is yourself. Find what helps you out. I know that charity work helped me when my cousin passed. It reminded me of him. He moved to San Francisco with only his car and helped in homeless shelters when he didn't have a home himself. A drive might do it for you, or listening to your brother's music. Take time for you. Also take time to think. You need to get used to your brother is gone, and there is absolutely nothing you can do about it. This is the worst part of losing someone, but it's also the most important one. Think about what you're going to do now, and accept the fact that you've lost someone close to you. Cry, weep, and let out your pain. You've had a massive jab to the heart, and a giant cement block has hit your head. Address the emotion, don't bottle it up. Therapy can help you with this. I actually encourage you do this. There is no weakness in seeking help, we all need it at some point. They can help you collect your thoughts and provide much needed advice. Therapy is great for grief, but only if you're willing to open up.